here we go.
I spilled my coffee in the opening shot.
You
if anyone
spilled your
caught it.
coffee already?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, have some.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yes, Have Some podcast. My name is Craig Goldberg. Welcome to the show. As always, I am here with my co-hosts, Abigail Gardner.
Covered in coffee. Here I am, ready to talk about movies.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
I'm yours, baby.
Oh, look at that.
Cut that out. What are you guys doing?
Who are you talking to?
Well, I mean, I was quoting the song.
Okay, there you go. Jacob Walsh, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm tired.
You're
Just
tired.
to be honest, I don't know why it's 7 o'clock in the evening.
We're all exhausted. We're mentally fried.
Tired. Yeah, I'm feeling tired. I'll tell you why I'm tired. I took one of those, sometimes you take those naps and they're really good.
Yeah.
But then
like a restorative nap.
But then 70% of the time you take a nap and you wake up feeling bad.
Hey, when I take a nap, any nap,
one of those.
Like where a cloud of anger just sort of stews and seeps over you.
Yeah, you
sleeping.
Craig, you called me earlier and it kind of woke. I was sleeping and it kind of woke me up and I got so mad you were calling. I was like, what? I was like, he's trying to podcast right now. And I was like, go back to sleep. And I went back to sleep for a little bit.
I had the same experience. I was sleeping and then Craig came in to wake me up for the podcast. And I was like,
I'm like Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka going amongst the people of the town to let them know that they won the golden ticket and it's time to podcast.
Sure. There it is.
No, I get it. Sometimes I take a nap and I wake up and I have existential dread and I think about my own mortality.
Whoa. What a nap does to you? Because you wake up and you're like, that was basically like being dead. Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ants are leading you around. You're walking in a line.
Hey, spoilers.
Sorry.
Abby's been reading. Hey, listen, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're going to get right into it because we're having fun. Next week, we are going to be at Galaxy's Edge at Disney World, Orlando.
Yeah.
That's not the big one, though.
Well, we also have Halloween Horror Nights.
That's the big one.
I almost called it Hollywood Horror Nights. And then I almost called it Hollywood Hogan Nights. So Halloween Horror Nights.
What if you went to that and instead of scare actors, it's just all Hulk Hogans?
That's Dragon Con.
Era Hulk Hogans.
Yeah.
Wait,
brother.
Hollywood Hogan Nights would be really
they
funny.
They still have the chainsaws. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a Halloween horror Hogan night.
10 haunted houses, but every scare actor is Hulk Hogan.
Different incarnations. There's
Quadruple H.
Yeah.
Quadruple H?
Halloween Hogan horror. No, well, that's 3 H's. I guess it's still
so
Triple
it's
H.
just Triple H.
So I guess you're just Triple H still.
I like Quadruple H is like Triple H leaves for a while and he comes back and he's bigger.
I've got another H.
There's a fourth H. No, I like the idea of scare actors being Hollywood Hogan, coming up with a chainsaw like, let me tell you something, dude.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're going to be down in Orlando. Super excited about that. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We, as promised, because somebody had to do it. And by the box office numbers, not a lot of people have. We have seen Exorcist. What's it called? The Believer or just Believer?
Just Believer.
Mm-hmm.
Exorcist, I believe. We've seen the new movie directed by David Gordon Green. We're going to talk about our thoughts and feelings on the latest legacy sequel to be infiltrating our hearts and minds. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit about the new Pet Cemetery, get into a little Falling of the House of Usher. There's a lot going on in the world of horror right now. So, but before we do that, I did want to plug YHS.
Did you just
Falling of the House of Usher? You
I thought he said falling into the House of Usher.
Yeah, he said we'll get into falling of the House of Usher. It's
fall.
The fall of the House of Usher.
Okay. It has nothing to do with R&B superstar Usher, which it took me 4 episodes to realize.
You were like, oh.
Pull up.
That's good.
Actually, earlier, Abby was talking about it. I said, hey, it's pronounced Usher. And she got so mad at me. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Let's just get into it. Let's get into Exorcist. This was a movie we were all looking forward to. And then we saw the trailer. Then we still
based on YHS's investment level in the franchise, I think we were looking forward to it. But the trailer didn't have us too excited.
No, we started looking forward to it for different reasons. I think anybody who's listened to YHS for a long time, if you're new, you might not know this. I would suggest, Jacob, they go into the archives to listen and experience our history, our saga with Exorcist actor Linda Blair. That was one of the early big like YHS moments, I feel like.
Yeah, also, I mean, yeah, 100%. I got yelled at by Linda Blair, and there's a very early episode. And honestly, now that I'm thinking of it, the events of what happened are more true to like what an Exorcist sequel should be than this movie.
It's yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, what we'll do is in the description of this episode, I will link to the original story of Linda Blair and then the second part, and then we did some fun video content. But it wasn't fake. It wasn't kayfabe like they say in the world of pro wrestling. This was real.
Yeah.
I witnessed Jacob Walsh getting yelled at by Linda Blair at the Days of the Dead convention.
Yeah.
It was shocking.
Yep.
Yeah. It put us on the map, sort of. I mean, in a way, yes, it hurt you, Jacob. I know.
It put us on the map. What map?
I don't. This is like a couple hundred listener map. Yeah. No, I would say that I remember it happening, and I remember it being. I remember feeling bad for you, Jacob, and being like, "Man, this sucks." Because when you meet somebody and they like have a kind of a meltdown in front of you, it's whatever. But we turned it into like a really fun ongoing story, and it sort of was rectified.
I mean, listen, if your mother sucked cocks in hell, you'd be cranky too. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Which she will not sign, by the way. Don't ask Linda Blair to sign a quote from The Exorcist.
That's not why. Also, that's not why she yelled at me. I didn't ask her to do that. But
that's why she yelled at the people in front of us.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this. I have some stats to read everybody. The new movie, The Exorcist Believer. It is a legacy sequel, ignores all other content seemingly that has come after the first Exorcist. Stars Leslie Odom Jr., Jennifer Nettles. Ellen Bernstein reprises her role as the mother from the original movie. And we're going to get into some spoiler territory. So that is your warning. Directed by David Gordon Green. Let's start there. David Gordon Green, obviously part of the Danny McBride world. I almost said the Kenny Powers directing crew. That's not a real thing. By the way, the theme song from the Kenny Powers show, Eastbound and Down, I never knew it's a real song, and it came on just a random Spotify playlist the other day. It's like an old blues rock song, and I'm like,
yeah.
But anyways, okay, Jacob, let me start with you. Let's talk about our director, David Gordon Green here. I'm going to name a couple of his films, and we're just going to get some of your reactions. Probably his most successful movie he's done so far was the Halloween 2018 reboot. Also directed the two sequels to that, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends for Blumhouse. He also did Pineapple Express, which was very popular at the time. And you know, he does a lot of writing and producing, like I said, with Jody Hill and Danny McBride. So I think after the success of Halloween, Blumhouse was like, let's keep this going. What's another franchise we can ruin?
Yeah, like let's invest in some that brand recognition and then absolutely foul it up. Yeah.
I will say I'm more of a fan. I tolerate the 2018 Halloween. I think both sequels are pretty bad. Jacob, that's a lot of setup for you. React. Where are you on David Gordon Green in directing horror films?
Not good. He's not good. He's not good at it. I think maybe, I don't know, dude. Like maybe he really. It kind of bums me out because that whole group of writers and actors and directors are really great, and you know, Righteous Gemstones is like the best TV show I've ever seen. Maybe like it's,
right.
The Halloween movies, I disliked all of them, but I've never been a huge Halloween. Like I like Halloween but it's on the bottom level for me. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
I'm probably not the one to really say if those Halloween movies are on the level of I just don't like them. I didn't like the old ones, so I don't know. But I thought they were all pretty bad, and I think they get worse as far as they go. And this is like the 5th Exorcist movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd put it, if I ranked them all, I'd put it 4 or 5. It'd be like bottom 2. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What Abby, just Exorcist.
Yeah, I mean, I have similar feelings to Jacob just about the David Gordon Green and like Danny McBride family. I also think their strong suit is comedy as like a group of creators. I think they really like soar when it's just straight comedy. But when there's that extra level of terror and horror that's supposed to be involved, like they come close to it in like flashes you'll see on episodes of Gemstones where it's like, ooh, that was really scary. Season 1 has a villain that's really scary for the first couple episodes. But the doing straight horror with just dashes of comedy is not the right it's not the right mix for them, because it's just, I don't know, it's like they're trying, they seem to do like following Stephen King's steps of like, this is how the progression of horror should be, but like the really scary moments are not scary. And honestly, I laughed a lot during this movie.
Yeah, it's the feel-good movie of the summer.
I would be open to seeing them do a straight horror film that was not already a franchise. Like,
that's how I felt watching this movie, Jacob. I was like, this is just a Blumhouse movie, not it. For the first 45 minutes, I was like, this is not an Exorcist movie. I completely forgot that it was.
Yeah. I felt like. Go ahead, Greg.
No, you're good. You're good. Because I've been wanting to talk to you about this for about a week. So
one of the things that's really crazy to me about this movie is that, so the original Exorcist it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and not just a horror movie. It's just one of my favorite movies. And even though it's about an exorcism, and your main characters are priests and all that, it doesn't feel like a movie that's very religious, even though the main battle is like a religious thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off as preachy or anything like that. This movie feels like the church funded, like hired a youth pastor and like wrote this movie. This movie feels so preachy. It is constantly talking about the good of religion, and it acts like the Avengers with like getting all of these religious people. Like, I literally was like, this is like they're trying to make this like the Avengers. And like the priest who like shows up midway through the exorcism, there was a point where I thought maybe I had fallen asleep and missed something, because I was like, why is it so important that this priest has no connection to her? Or, like in the original Exorcist, the Father Marin and Father Karras are like treated like real people, and they're main characters, and you're following Karras throughout the point of the movie is like a normal man. But in this movie, all of a sudden they're like, we gotta get the priest. And I'm like, who cares? Why is he fighting for permission to go to the exorcism? He hasn't seen anything. He has no connection to this. I was just like, did I fall asleep?
He didn't get permission from the League of Extraordinary Exorcists.
Oh, hey,
Jacob, I was right there with you with the like, there was an on your left moment of like all the exorcists assembling. Yeah. And also with the note of like that preachiness of like, it was almost like, to fight the exorcism, here's a big coexist bumper sticker of like, we can all just get along. Well, really, God is the same for everybody. And as somebody who's had an exorcist, I'm like, this is really fucking stupid.
Hey, you can't just hey, tune into the Patreon. At some point we're gonna have to just talk about our histories. I want to interview all of you.
Okay. So you're telling me this isn't the episode where I unload it?
This is not the episode.
I don't have my therapist with
we're
me.
not unpacking childhood trauma today.
But I'm an expert.
it's weird because there's multiple times where there are these like speeches, and they give a lot of it to McNeil, Miss, what's her name? Chris McNeil's character.
Yeah.
Or that is the character. I can't remember her real name.
Reagan's
mom.
Yeah.
Ellen Bernstein. They give her every piece of dialogue she has sounds like those pamphlets that people give you at Dragon Con where you're walking by and they trick you into picking up a religious pamphlet or something.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I know about those.
And dude, hold on.
Those are called tracks, by the way.
Guys, you were mentioning Usher a minute ago. I just did a rewatch of Midnight Mass. And Midnight Mass has scenes where characters go on like 8-minute monologues in every episode. But when you're done, you're like crying and you're like, that is the greatest thing I've ever heard somebody say.
I made peace with death watching that show.
Yeah. And it feels like they watched Midnight Mass and they were like, oh, we want her to give an 8-minute monologue and we want people to like, but it's like the most primitive fucking dialogue I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me listen. I'm locked and loaded here. I'm so excited for this.
Mhm.
Sometimes, as you know, we're critical of movies, but we're not movie critics. We're not Rotten Tomatoes confirmed or whatever.
We should be.
We should be, because sometimes you just gotta fucking tear a movie apart and it feels good.
Yeah. First you take an angry nap, then you wake up and you rip it in your asshole. It's the
Listen,
best.
first of all, I always like, let me give a little compliment. I thought the first half hour of this movie was fairly interesting. It shot really well.
Mm-hmm.
I liked opening it up in an earthquake in Haiti, which I believe was a real earthquake in 2010.
Yeah.
You're bought into like, oh, this guy lost his wife. He had to make this choice.
And even before that, like the marketplace shots
Right.
of his wife kind of wandering around, things just happen and they feel a little bit organic, and I didn't hate it.
Right. And
I'm already kind of, I saw this movie the day it came out, which was like 2 weeks ago at this point. And I know they talk about how he has to make a choice, but then they kind of come back to it later. He didn't make a choice for his wife to let his wife die, right?
No, he chooses. Listen, he did what any sane person would do if you're pregnant.
You choose the one you know.
Right.
Like, it's like either your wife or your kid's gonna die.
If Abby
here.
was
What's your
pregnant,
choice?
if Abby was pregnant, like 6 months pregnant, and something happened, and they were like, "It's Abby or the new kid," I'm not gonna be like, oh, "Man, I don't know, that new kid."
Try the new kid.
That new kid.
It's like doing the mystery bag. You're not gonna invest in that.
It's like buying a Super 7 mystery reaction.
Yeah.
You could get all. Listen,
you go with the collectible, you know.
You could get Mecha Godzilla. You don't know. Listen, I was taken aback by how. So the original Exorcist, just talking about the original Exorcist, is one of the great horror films of all time, one of the great movies of all time, brilliantly directed, brilliantly acted, scary, tense, gross. When you're
feels forbidden and ancient.
When you're looking at Reagan with the makeup on, you feel like in your gut, like, oh, I feel nauseous right now. And the demon is legitimately scary. And you're right, Jake. Like, even though like it's obviously set in the world of Catholicism, it is a man versus evil kind of battle, and they don't knock you over the head with it too hard. And even if they did, it's just so well directed and well made and such a classic. I assume that. So first of all, I think Universal shut out like $400 million for the rights to Exorcist. They've already announced 2 sequels. The next one's called Exorcist.
I don't think any sequels are happening.
Wait, not even the sequel to Believer, which is titled Exorcist Deceiver?
No.
By the way, you know what the third one's probably going to be? But it's going to be Exorcist Mike Seaver, which was the character that Kirk Cameron played on Growing Pains, because this felt like a fucking Kirk Cameron.
It felt like
Hold on, I'm still fucking talking. This felt like Left Behind. Thank you.
Yes, and as someone who's read Left Behind books, yes, this did have that overwhelming feeling of like, well, if we all just kind of come together and help, and
It felt like Kevin Sorbo was going to show up. It felt like God is Not Dead 5.
Yes.
Believer.
yeah,
Exactly.
especially that scene that I'm referencing where it feels like the League of Extraordinary Exorcists, where they're all like sitting down, like they should be puffing,
Dude, I
cigars,
kept
talking.
thinking, in that
Where it's like,
scene,
no, we won't do it.
in that scene where he's talking to the 5 other priests, like I was literally like, all I was hearing when they were talking, and what I was hearing was, officially the church will not have any kind of comments on the recent phenomenon. Like, oh,
Mhm.
another Ghostbusters thing. There is no point in Reagan's mom being in this movie. Literally, it was like they watched Afterlife and like we're like, oh, let's just do that. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't you tell me my grandmother was an exorcist? Like, it was so bad.
She's first of all, she's bad in it. She's maybe one of the best parts of the original Exorcist. She's not good in this. She's not good. They waste that. Like, why gouge her eyes out? Like, she's in the movie for 10 minutes and then gouge her eyes out. Who wants to see that? The whole all the stuff with like she can't find Reagan's mad because she wrote a book is so stupid. And then also like,
Yeah.
why is she an exorcist now? Like she talks about doing it, and I'm like, you're not an exorcist. You just lived through, like, it's such a weird dude. Also, when she meets the kids and the the possessed kids for the first time, she has this thing where she's like, we've met before. She says that. And they put it in the trailer and everything, and it's like, but it's not the same demon. It's not Pazuzu. It's a whole new demon that we're dealing with. So no, she hasn't. There's all
demon.
I don't
Oh,
get
they're
it.
the worst.
Copycat demon who knew about Reagan was like, oh, I'm gonna be like the new Reagan.
I just sound exactly like her and make the kids look exactly like her. But
oh, they brought out the old number, the old outfit, the nightie.
Why
like
was
the
she
sea foam green looking thing?
Why did the little girl all of a sudden have Reagan's nightgown from 1974 on?
I'm trying to find. I'm on my phone, but I'm trying to find. I don't know if you guys saw this. I was gonna find it and send it to you so you could pull it up, but I can't. So it was on. I believe it was on Bloody Disgusting.
Okay.
So apparently, whatever the demon, you know how like in the original you see flashes of Pazuzu.
Yeah.
They did that kind of thing a few times in this one, but apparently there is like a full practical like supposed to be what the demon looks like.
Okay.
They like released a photo of it, and they were like, this is apparently in the movie at some point. I was like, I didn't see that in the movie. It must be just like
right
flashes or something.
Yeah.
But it looks awesome. I was like, why is that not in the movie?
I
can't find it.
It's okay. If you find it, I'd like to share that. I've got some more thoughts, but Abby, we laughed. We saw it together.
Yeah. But just to piggyback real quick off what Jacob was saying, like to not have the lore and the history of like one specific demon that's been going through, and to just kind of be like, well, it's any demon, that takes away so much of like the grounding and the weight and the severity of like, because that stuff, when it's like it tracks through text, biblical text, and it goes throughout history, that adds like gravity to the fear that you're supposed to be feeling in a scary movie. And when you don't have that, it's yeah. What were you asking me?
No, this is great insight.
Yeah. And I mean, instead of focusing on like we're fighting against something that is greater as a divine being than any of us can even fathom, and we can't outwit, we have to go and use like non-traditional Bible methods of getting and extracting him. Like that stuff's far more interesting than like if we just bind together as a community and all work together, this demon will move on.
Yeah. What I was saying was how hard we laughed when after she gets her eyes gouged out when they're putting like the goggles on her.
Yeah, and like I want to be sensitive and nice and stuff, but like it was really hard for me not to find it comedic.
It was bad. It was poorly done.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for that insight, because I have a couple more specific questions for you as we go along. I found this movie to be very poorly edited, especially after the first 35 minutes, 35 minutes, because Hey, here's something. When the exorcism was over, I had no idea. I thought
Well, their heartbeats separated, Craig. Wasn't that enough?
Yeah, that wasn't enough to tell you.
She died of a broken heart.
So they do like the
Eating a sink. I hated that lady.
Oh.
She's in Hereditary, and Hereditary is awesome.
This
but
is
she was
the neighbor
Yeah, she's the lady
who performs the exorcism. That's like salt of the earth woman.
Yep. Yeah, she's in Hereditary.
Yeah. I laughed at her the first scene when she's like yelling at them to put their trash cans up, because I was like, oh, I have a neighbor like that.
Listen, guys, I've seen plenty of movies in my life.
That's me.
Listen, this is the thing. We're going to find out something happened making this movie. It's not a good movie. It's not a well put together movie. It's not a well edited movie. I have a feeling there was maybe some test screenings that didn't go well, or some studio execs, or some. It doesn't feel coherent, because you
pointed this out. This is the one that we never see what happens in the 3-day span in the woods. Like, that's never that's something that you're like, well, why didn't they show it at some point? And like, if that's the big thing that you can't, you know, that you're right. They're just girls in the woods that just do a little tiny half-ass spell, and then
By the way, you're telling me that little,
then they walk to hell. We never see them.
Listen, when I was a kid, we used to try to do seances. We did Bloody Mary and Candyman and all that shit. Nothing cool ever happened. You tell me they go to the woods for like 10 minutes and they get the Exorcist demons back? I don't buy that. No, but like...
All right, I found it, Craig. I'm going to send it to you. It's an Instagram post.
Okay, we sent it on Facebook?
Yep.
Okay.
It's from the effects team.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're like, cool, glad we built this amazing thing.
It looks great.
So let's talk a little bit about the plot. So the plot is there's these two little girls that are friends. Oh, a couple things here. Guys, I have so much I've been thinking about this all day, and we really haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
So Jake, I'll share that in 1 second. First of all, Leslie Odom Jr., who plays the dad.
Aaron Burr.
Right. He plays Aaron Burr in Hamilton. Mm-hmm. That guy has so much charisma, but he's not he doesn't use it in this movie. He's so flat in this movie.
I think he realized as an actor, probably as the filming was progressing, that it was what the movie was, like based on the way other people were acting off of him. Because I think he was too good, is what I think.
But because the plot, if I had to point, the most interesting plot in this movie was they're in Haiti. There's locals who like bless their baby. She dies. Like there's something interesting there. The friendship, like they did this weird, bless you. They did this weird thing where like the two little girls are friends, but their parents don't know that they're friends. Yeah. And they kind of like,
it was like they wanted to plant that like possible. Yeah. Sorry. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay. Like, they're kind of dancing around like, oh, is there like racial tension or something like that? But they never go down that road. I'm not saying that they should or they shouldn't, but it's obvious that's what they're kind of doing. And then it's just weird. And like, you've got the Jennifer Nettles and her husband family. Like they're like the religious, like annoying religious family. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then like the whole,
like, they're also like kind of shitty people.
Sure, yeah.
And I could have seen with Righteous Gemstones being something that this team has worked on. I could have seen that being played with and being fun and then getting scary, but it felt like it was dropped.
And I did not. So it's one of those things where after the movie was over, I was like, oh, the story they were trying to tell is that Leslie Odom's character wasn't religious and didn't believe in God.
But it was such a scary demon.
But he had to choose that. But that's so lame. Like, that's so dumb.
Turning a skeptic to a believer, yeah.
Oh, that's so dumb. Abby, let's just go down this road. This is not to offend anybody because we have lots of listeners of different faiths and backgrounds, etc. Having said that, Abby, you grew up in an evangelical household. Mm-hmm. What gets off an evangelical more than seeing an atheist find their way?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the money shot. Like, that's what they want to see. It's like the centerfold. To be like, sorry, because that's Paul or Saul to Paul, like his story as an apostle of transitioning and going from being blinded by God to coming to the light and turning. He used to kill Christians, and then like he was like, oh, now I follow God now. So that's the crowning jewel, essentially, to be able to turn somebody who doesn't believe. And it's also a tactic that Stephen King uses in his books, and I'm sure a lot of authors do, where it's like the narrator doesn't believe what's going on, but by the end of it, it's so overwhelmingly true that they believe,
Right.
and you are scared now.
Which, even if you want to use, even if that's what they wanted to use as their storytelling device, they didn't do a good job of it. Okay, let's look at this image that Jacob sent over. Thank you for sharing, Abby. So this is C Nelson effects. There we go. This is the demon makeup on the amazing Liz Johnson for Exorcist Believer. A lot of hard work went into her by so many artists. And it kind of breaks down how the effect was built. I don't recall seeing this in a movie or in the movie.
Sure. I don't think it's in the movie at all. I think it must have gotten. So when I was searching for it just now, a couple of the articles were like saying that it got cut. So I don't know if it's there in a flash somewhere or if it is just completely cut out of the film.
I think, because I remember seeing a flash of like a very close up, like face with horns in some way, but it doesn't even really matter. It would have been something that was in a flash sequence.
Check this out.
Not
First,
like
right.
Scene.
Somebody says, why in the hell wasn't in the movie? And somebody responded with, and whether or not this is true or not, this is what we were just saying. Due to negative reviews from test screenings, and unfortunately, there was many scenes cut and moments changed. Guess what?
You can feel it.
You can feel it throughout this whole incoherent mess of a fucking movie.
Hey, so I know you guys just saw the movie for the first time today, so you've been like pretty spoiler free and everything. But since this movie came out, there is a line of dialogue from the movie, and I wonder if you guys caught it, that people have been talking about. Like if you get on Twitter and you search Exorcist,
yeah,
people making fun of one specific line of dialogue from the movie, and people are like, the meme that's going around is like a screenshot with the dialogue and people being like, this is an actual line from a real.
What is it?
So what's the line?
Yeah.
It's when Chris McNeil is talking to the dad, and she says that she wasn't allowed to witness her own daughter's exorcism because of
the patriarchy. I laughed so hard.
The patriarchy caused the exorcism.
Probably because of the patriarchy.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with the fact that it was like two professionals fighting a literal demon. They both died doing so for your dumb daughter.
God.
But it was the men.
Well, the Ghostbusters came and busted a ghost and didn't let me, probably because of the patriarchy. Paul Feig.
There's a lot of dumb lines, and most of them are delivered by that character. Yeah.
That's a bad piece of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
She's 90 years old too. Like, she does not need to be in a movie. She had a nice house though, out off the coast.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. There are a lot of things that were not great.
This movie was fucked up bad. Listen,
mm-hmm. I think that I know about 30 or 40 minutes in, I looked at Craig and he was like, I'm liking this so far. And I was like, yeah, we're getting surprised by like
5 seconds later,
some funny, decent actors from like different shows that we like, specifically the Danny McBride verse. So it was like, I was thinking, well, maybe this won't be quite as bad. And you know, when the movie changed, it's when the girls got possessed. It just became fucking funny and stupid.
That's what everybody has been saying. Like, everybody has been saying, you can tell exactly the point where the shift happens. And that's the exact point where things started getting cut up and changed and switched around. Everybody who is seeing this movie is like, hey, first 30 minutes is like a fine setup just to like a really shitty second half of a movie.
So I have a couple questions, a couple ponderances. First of all,
once the girls get lost in the woods, everyone in the movie forgets exactly what's happening and what happened. And it's,
How do they think the body and the blood part is good? Like, how did they?
Well, first of all, Craig, you didn't understand communion because you asked.
I was like, what are they doing?
What is this? What are they doing?
I know nothing.
And I grew up in the evangelical Christian church, not Catholic church. So Catholic church, they use real wine for the communion. which is why when you're a kid you can't take it. You have to take it when you're of age. But anyway,
What do you get? A little Kool-Aid?
no, for me, I got a little Welch's.
And they drink lots of Kool-Aid.
That's all they drink over
That's
there.
sadly true.
That was fun.
But no, that's the body and the blood of Christ, so that you remember his sacrifice.
Well, I literally, when she's going, the body and the blood, I literally thought, let the bodies hit the floor.
And
Was
the bodies in the blood. Let the bodies in the blood. Let the bodies in the blood.
It's the thing. The thing is like, it's not, that kind of stuff isn't scary. It's just not. And I thought they did a fine, like, if they're trying to make the girls look exactly like Reagan did when she was possessed, they did a fine job at that. It makes no sense for them to look the same.
Y'all did a good makeup tutorial.
But the makeup on the girls I thought was fine.
Yeah,
but
it
the
was.
thing that is scary in the original Exorcist is like, you're scared for these, like, before the full takeover happens, you're scared because all this weird shit is happening to Reagan and she doesn't know what it is. And they're doing all these like medical procedures on her. And then when she becomes fully possessed, she's doing things that are like, like the dialogue that kid has to say in the original Exorcist is really gross. She's like fucking herself with a cross, or, like there's a lot of just, when she talks to Karras in his dead mother's voice, like that kind of stuff is scary. But in this movie, they don't have those girls do anything but like groan and stare at the ceiling.
Hey, dude, that was the most relatable moment for me, was when Catherine was in church and she's taking her shoes off and she's like shifting around. I was like, this was me as a kid in church. But also, I know what you're saying. Like, you're talking about that.
I was just going to say, one girl like throws up CGI at one point, and that was it.
Dude, did you realize that the fireplace was CGI?
Yeah, because it looks like the same one I put up on Christmas on YouTube.
Dude, I was laughing so hard. They couldn't even get real fire.
But I wanted to touch on what Jacob was what you were just saying about like the unholiness, which is something that like you get in Pet Sematary and even in Revival, where it's like someone that you know and love is saying these things that just you can't even comprehend because they're so twisted. There was none of that with these two girls, especially with Catherine, when she like her like British affected sounding voice when she's the demon was.
I just literally
so
thought they were going through hormone changes as teenagers. Like, I didn't think
it was a big deal. It does make you walk to hell.
Yeah, when you become of age and you go to hell for a couple days, see what that's all about.
Yeah, that's 17, man.
Oh, we go to hell.
If I spent 3 days in hell, I'd want to remember. They don't even remember that they were in hell. There were like that's what happened. They tell us later on, oh, they spent 3 days walking around in hell. And I'm like, what? That sounds like a way more interesting movie.
Let me see that movie.
Dude, what?
Dante.
Of two teenage girls having to walk around in literal hell.
Guided by the Grim Reaper from Bill and Ted.
Exactly.
That sounds fun.
It's time to play another game.
Michael Myers is down there from the most recent one, running in the sewer.
Dude, by the way, I got a comment.
Love interest.
The Bloomhouse intro logo.
I hated it, dude.
Yeah.
Where they like
remind me of a bunch of shit I hate real quick before I watch this movie.
Yeah.
Oh God. You know what? Megan's the best thing they've done because it's a fun, original.
That's their lane, dude. Like that's the audience. It's a little younger. Like it's more modern. It's slick. It's not trying to be something.
Take itself seriously.
Yeah.
All right, I got more things on this movie. So, we've established that it's bad and it's not good. It's also really boring at times, like super boring.
Yeah.
No tension. You would think when if I'm David Gordon Green, if I'm this team, I'm sitting down on day one. And by the way, we should also say this: getting a movie made is really hard. Making a movie is really hard. There's David Gordon Green might hate this. There's a chance he might hate.
And the special effects people who worked on these things have had their souls and hearts crushed by not even seeing their stuff hit the screen. So we are empathetic.
But having said that,
hold on. He made 3 really bad Halloween movies. I guarantee you he doesn't hate this movie. He thinks he made something great.
He's like, look what I did. Look at
The
this
body
art.
and the blood, honey.
Maybe not though, because it did come out that he literally might not direct the next one.
Yeah, I might
And if
not
he
either.
really loved this, he would be doing that. So
Right.
I don't.
Mhm.
I will say this. I do think there's ways to expand on the like I think part of the issue, and maybe this is part of the overall problem, is there's been a lot of exorcism and possession movies over the last 40 years.
I really wish you guys would watch Exorcist 3 because I want to talk about it right now.
Well,
All right,
let's do that.
We will.
Let's watch it tonight.
Okay.
Let's
yeah.
cleanse ourselves.
Yeah, but also let me say this thing that I want to say, which is I think the only person who could take on the Exorcist mantle and make a decent movie out of it would be Mike Flanagan. And I know it's because I'm watching a lot of his stuff, but it's because he taps into the emotional weight of like what happens to people like in the fallout. And if he were to follow characters from the Exorcist storyline, like that would be, I could see him doing that.
Well, let me without spoiling what The Exorcist 3 is about.
Yeah.
That is what is so good about it, is that there's a large part of the movie where you're like, how is this even what is the connection to the Exorcist? The main character is a main character from the first movie, but it seems like it's in such a different direction and I think that's what you just can't make another possession. It can't just be the same kind of like, oh, little girl gets possessed again.
No.
They've done that so many times.
2 little girls. They're sharing a heartbeat.
Mm.
There's been a lot of possession movies. They're all kind of the same. But what I was saying is like, you gotta, if I was gonna make if Dave Hollywood called me tomorrow and said, Craig, it's time to make your Exorcist.
David Hollywood here with money for Craig. The first thing I would ask myself is, okay, cool. What makes the first Exorcist so fucking good? What is it that makes it scary? And if I can't figure out the answer to that, and if I can't figure out a way to tap into that, I'm not doing it. Because it's ancient, it plays by the rules. Like it's grounded in the scary stuff that's part of religion. Religion is created to keep us calm and to make sense of things. So when you think about there being beings and entities that you have no control over that can kill you and hurt you and harm you and ruin your life, it's actually terrifying. If I were to take on The Exorcist, I would make a movie about the emotional fallout after the exorcism because I could talk about that. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
It's just what's her face writing a book and Reagan being like, you better not be writing a book. I'll get mad.
Hey, also
Write that book.
In the first Exorcist movie, whenever it ends with Reagan not remembering literally anything that happens.
That's why she's mad about the book. She thinks her mom's lying.
I don't get it. I'm like, what is she like? You don't remember it. Who cares? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it's not good, but that doesn't always, just because a movie's not good doesn't mean it's not successful. It's not successful either. And the reviews are really, I think it's 22%. 22%. Jake, I called you earlier and I said, I'm so looking forward to talking about this.
Yeah.
22% Rotten Tomatoes, $47 million domestic, 42 international, total take 90 million.
What? So when I watched the first Halloween, the 2018 Halloween, that movie ends on a pretty big cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
You can watch that movie, like it or hate it, and be like, yes, I understand a trilogy. I see where this is going. What is the second Exorcist movie about?
Holy shit.
Deceiver.
Yeah. Girls, the demon was is there another demon? Are we gonna? Hey,
it's a family. It's like the Force.
Movie. At the end of the second movie, Pazuzu comes back. In the third movie, Reagan.
Holy shit!
Pazuzu. Like,
Reagan's Pazuzu's granddaughter? Sorry.
What are the sequels about? I don't know.
If I had to guess based on the movie ends with, okay, we have to talk about this. So the movie ends. Another thing that makes the fucking Exorcist so good is all this shit is happening in the bedroom of a little house where people are like downstairs looking upstairs going, Man, it's fucked up there right now. And it's
Architecture's important, though. The setting is important. Those stairs are important, and
Right.
like that house is much more terrifying. And we visited those stairs, all
did.
three of us.
And then this ends at like they tie him up on these chairs, and it's just like it looks like the end of like a John Wick movie or something. Like,
Yeah, dude, they do the witch's circle with the chalk, and then they
bad.
get it all. They put the chairs in. They probably tried a few different positions, and then.
So the whole thing is that the demon says you have to make a choice. One of these girls is dying. You choose. And then the dad steps in and says, "What do you mean choose? We don't understand."
What did you do, guy?
By the way, I like the actor who played the other girl's
Dad
father
from Bloodline.
He's in that show
That dude's
Bloodline.
great.
He's a good actor.
Dude's so
Not in
great.
this-
Not in this one. Not
He's
so
a good confused dad that's like, I don't know what's going on, kind of entitled and stuff. But
And also, he kind of alluded to being like, I think this is my fault because I'm a piece of shit. But they don't show you what he like. Is he cheating on his what? Like, what's
they
going
could have gone so many cool directions with people unfurling and like unraveling and being like, well, what did I cause this? Well, maybe the youth pastor was creepy. Like there could have been some cooler things.
Well, I also thought so. The whole thing about the beginning of the movie taking place in Haiti and there being the weird blessing and all that. I thought that was gonna be the basis of where the demon comes from.
Sure.
Me too, bro.
And part of why I thought that is because the original Exorcist takes place in whatever country that takes place in the beginning, and he finds the Pazuzu statue and stuff. So like, I thought that was going to tie back to it, and then it doesn't. It just doesn't. And you're like, oh, okay, so the Haiti thing is all unimportant.
Yeah, I thought that when that character, not Catherine, but the other young girl, I thought that when she came back, she would be possessed with the spirit of her mother in some like unholy, not right way. Yeah, that
like,
I could see that
type bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you know what I'm surprised they didn't do, because this movie had no chill, right? They just like every time they were like, we better do a jump scare here. It's like, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it would be more interesting if you just didn't. I'm surprised that I thought with that priest showing back up that they were going to cut away and do like the priest under the street light shot in front of the house.
No, he just gets out his like magnificent Bible that's like only for special exorcisms. It's like, okay, no, you do this. And then he sits outside the car and it's just like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm too scared to go in. And then fucking Leslie Odom Jr. comes out and is like, the fight's inside.
The fight's inside.
The fight is inside.
Okay, so a couple more things.
Dude, I would just be like, y'all stop.
Hey, I'm gonna when this movie comes out on digital, I'm gonna take the scene of him walking in. You know,
what did you say?
Put the Avengers theme to it.
Yeah.
Dude, when we were in the theater, because there were very few people, maybe only 2 that were there with us, Craig was out loud going, this fucking guy. When the priest starts coming in, he's like, he's so good. This guy's so good.
Wait, what?
You were saying that because it's when they show the final priest coming in that moment.
Yeah.
The way that everyone reacts to him is like, it makes no sense because nobody knows that he's awesome or why he's awesome. But
I think he went to Spirit and bought a priest costume. I don't even think he was a real priest. He just had the little white thing.
Yeah.
The story they were trying to tell, also his weird neighbor from the gym who's also really religious, who like brings over those other like.
Yeah, again, that whole like, let's accept Pentecostal with Catholicism with your average Joe, like.
That whole plot line was weird. Like, okay, so you just come into my house with a bunch of random people to do like weird blessings and then you ask one of those people to come help with your exorcism.
That person is just always doing exorcism related stuff. Like whenever you happen upon them. I agree, Jacob.
She's like,
that stuff actually reminded me more of the church, of like actual real stuff where it's like, oh, I heard from a friend of a friend kind of stuff. Because that is how that shit happens.
Every actor in this movie feels like they were extras, and on the day of shooting, they were like, "You want a line? You want to say something?
You got the line. It's a big
That's
break.
how every actor in this movie feels like that to me.
They they let all the stand-ins just like, you just want to be the actor? You
Yeah.
just want to do it?
You want to do the demon voice? Cool.
Okay, so they have to make they're given a choice, right? And everybody knows that we're not going to choose. And then the one dad's like, I choose Catherine. I pick. And then he kills his own daughter. And then that was the end of the movie.
It's kind of, that reminds me of sort of a biblical plot with like Solomon, and like there's an old story about like two women that were fighting over a baby, each of them saying it was theirs. And Solomon was like, okay, we can cut it in half and each of you will have half. And the one mother that was like, no, don't do that, ended up getting the baby. So it's kind of similar to that, like making a choice.
I mean, if you cut the baby in half, it's gonna
I'm
be
like, go ahead. Just break the baby.
That's what the demon wanted, because like, does the demon just leave after that? The demon's like, one of these kids. Also, they're possessed by one demon, right? It's one demon. That makes no sense. And
two girls, one
two
demon.
heartbeats, one demon.
So the demon just was like, all right, I'll kill one and then I'll get out of here. Is that what happened?
He's like,
I'll just take the one. It's fine.
I mean,
this one's extra evil. I like this one.
My guess is, knowing if this movie was really successful, my guess is that the script for the next one is a couple years later, and she's either, senior in high school or about to go to college, and she's at school, and then guess who's still around?
Catherine. Yeah.
Well, no. The plot is, it's her final day of high school. Her teacher's out. Substitute teacher. Guess who's the substitute? It's the demon.
It's the demon.
Oh my God.
You're never gonna walk in your graduation ceremony. I'm surprised they did not. I swear to God, this had to be on the table just to do like the aliens thing and call this movie Exorcists.
Yeah, I bet it was based on like the amount of assemblages of Exorcists.
The Exorcists awaken.
Hey, guess what? That doesn't make any of the Exorcists interesting. If you have one that's like the ultimate one, that's cool. And to me, that's fascinating.
Like 1971.
Yeah, and now it's like,
whatever.
well, anybody can be a Skywalker.
Yeah.
Anyone can be an exorcist.
Anybody.
Take our just read the stupid book.
Unfortunately, that is true.
All right. Well, so listen. So what'd you guys think? 2 thumbs up? We have to talk about Linda Blair.
Oh, fucking yes, because that's the whole reason we have to talk about this movie.
So Linda Blair shows up at the end.
I'm here, Mom. I'm having sweet dreams.
And they try to make it seem like it's going to be Leslie Odom, but Reagan walks in and is like...
Walks in and hugs her blind mother.
Hey, Mom, sorry. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to...
Sorry that demon from back when I was 13 that I don't remember came back and gouged her eyes out, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgive you.
I know I didn't want to talk about it.
It was just like for the sake of having her in the movie.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Okay. This is the greater issue with the legacy sequel kind of thing. There's certain movies that are continuations of an original story where it's like you want those original people to be there because it matters to the story. Like, do you really want a Terminator movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger's not in? Do you really want Ghostbusters without the original guys showing up? Like, but nobody in their right mind was like, yo, dude, straight up, if they do another Exorcist, that's fine. I'll see it. But if Reagan's mom is not involved, I'm not. It's like nobody like if they don't reveal to me what happened with Reagan's mom and what happened with like their relationship post Exorcist, then I'm out, because
I like mom drama.
Yeah. And even by the end, like, okay, hey, guess what? Linda Blair, you think people know what Linda Blair, like, we know what Linda Blair looks like because we go to shitty horror conventions, but like people are probably like, who's this? Oh, is that the daughter? Is that the same? Like,
Right.
The movie's literally 50 years old. It's like,
yeah, it was a week.
I've seen a few people be like, "Hey, the movie's not really good, but that last scene is like, it's so good." And I'm like, it's not well set up. It's not well written or acted by either. It is like the weirdest, like old people hugging. Like it's super awkward. It makes no sense.
It follows like the Marvel formula of like, and at the end you're gonna see someone you didn't think you were gonna see.
Yeah,
like that little surprise stinger.
Yeah.
Again, they're trying to do
I was surprised that it wasn't literally at the end, like after the credits, you know?
Linda Blair will be back.
Will return in
Exorcists. $3 signs.
$3 signs. This movie wishes there was $3 signs.
Yeah, it doesn't. It didn't earn it. It didn't earn the.
I don't know, man. I love the original Exorcist, and I think Part 3 is very, very good. They made a couple prequels in the 2000s. They're not the worst movies I've ever seen, but they're not like Exorcist level.
Mm-hmm.
I hear the show's really good. I watched a couple episodes and didn't really care for it. Never finished.
Oh right, the Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I never finished it. I just wasn't into it. I'm okay with like somebody coming back and making a legacy sequel to. It's not like hate for the sake of like Exorcist is my favorite movie. Don't touch it. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just has to feel good and not feel like a cash grab, you know, and not feel like whoever had the idea to make this had like it feels like he had a spark of an idea and then was like, oh shit, I can make a whole movie off of maybe this one thing. You know what I mean? And it's like the whole movie falls flat and feels like it feels false. Not one thing about the movie feels genuine. Like the acting doesn't, the writing doesn't. It feels like nobody wants to be in this movie.
Listen,
I completely agree.
This is a great quote from somebody who reviewed it. Stephanie Zacharek from Time Magazine gave it a scathing review, and it says, "Poor Ellen Bernstein. Long after refusing to appear in Exorcist 2, she agrees to show up in this thing."
Yeah.
She says, though it's not something she could have known some 47 years ago, Bernstein said yes to the wrong Exorcist sequel if only she'd chosen the one with poetry in its soul. So high praise for Exorcist 2 there. Listen, first of all, if I was David Gordon Green, I would just copy paste the Linda Hamilton, Laurie Strode. Well, what's her name? Who plays Halloween? Jamie Lee Curtis. I would have done that. I would have had. I would have had her training for the last 50 years. She's
90 years old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
like
then,
the Expendables, but with like
she's got like
Final Girls.
It's like a semi-automatic squirt gun full of holy water, and she's like,
"Take this."
I've met him before. He's the reason me and my daughter don't talk.
Pray for 22 gallons of holy water. That would be more entertaining.
She's like, she busted into the church. She's like, save me a few of those communion cookies. I'm hungry. So
Perfect.
stupid.
Yeah, I'll see that one.
So yeah, go see it, everybody. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Oh yeah,
it's bad, and they need to really consider stopping.
Yeah, someone needs a safe word.
Just consider stop.
Consider stop.
So, listen, we all also watched the new Pet Sematary, which it's weird, also bad, but like in a completely
bad but fun.
Who are you shushing?
There's a dog, but you guys don't hear that dog barking?
No, just
Do
the
you have a
shush.
secret dog?
Do you have a secret dog?
I hear the dog.
My door's open, and my neighbor has a dog, and it doesn't shut up.
Oh.
It's because I brought up Pet Cemetery, and then I was like,
take him to the pet cemetery. No, don't. Now you have a whole other problem on your hands.
I would say, like, listen, the new Pet Cemetery was a fun hour and 28-minute watch. It's free on Peacock or
Yeah,
Paramount.
popcorn fun. Lots
Like,
of fun.
is it? Hey, this is what I said to you. I think after I watched it, is it good? No. Like, is it better than 5 other Stephen King adaptations off the top of my head? Yes.
At least
it was fine. Like it was fine.
Yeah. The guy who played Timmy was all right. Don't do that. I think you can. Who cares? You didn't think of it.
I love South Park.
It is funny.
think
But he looked like he was going to like the Morrissey concert afterwards. He looked like a straight edge scene kid, which was fine.
It's funny how many times they say "dead is better" 3 times in that movie. They say it 3 times.
Catchphrases.
They open the movie with it. They close the movie with it, and another character says it like halfway through.
Yep.
What's that cat's name from Pet Sematary? The
Church.
First one? Church. I'm surprised that they're just gonna be like, this is Church's litter. 40 years of bloodline. We have to return to Pet Sematary. Oh yeah, it's a prequel. I forgot.
They buried the kittens. Okay.
I don't know.
That's actually interesting to me. I'd see that.
I had fun watching it. It was fine. But listen,
There's some good
Exorcist.
actors in it.
Yeah, I agree.
Thomas is in it.
It's again just like it's short story within a story source material. So it's like everything in there they kind of had to add.
It was one of those movies that takes place in the 60s, but on like day 4 of production design, they were like, let's not worry about that.
You guys want to stop?
Let's just have everybody look like
do your hair normal. It's okay.
but it's fun to watch those kind of movies this time of year. And so we'll touch on House of Usher for a second. No, we won't get into spoiler territory, but I do want to talk about it. Anything else left to say about Exorcist? Are we believers? We're not.
No.
Still
an atheist.
Didn't get me.
Didn't trick you? I tricked you. That's what the demon says. I played a trick on you.
It does?
It says that.
No way.
Yes, it does.
Well, it says God played a trick on you.
God played a trick on you. It's also Mark Hamill.
It should have been Mark Hamill because Mark Hamill, speaking of Mike Flanagan universe, is fantastic in Fall of the House of Usher.
Don't you get these kids any more money? That's not a line from the show, but I know he's thinking that.
It is. That's cell phone code.
Okay.
He's great.
Real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Fall of the House of Usher, new Mike Flanagan, inspired by the works of Edgar Allan Poe. And Jake, you finished it. We're not finished yet. Once we all finish it, we'll talk about it on YHS because I find it to be really well done, really funny at times.
Yeah.
Really brutal at times.
Well, that's something that I feel like is a little new for Mike Flanagan. You know, there's not much to laugh at in Midnight Mass or Haunting of Hill House. None of those shows don't have much comedy in them. This show's got some fun. There were a couple times throughout that I laughed out loud. There's some good stuff.
You want to hear something fucked up? We watched the cat episode last night.
Yeah.
And all 3 of our cats today have attacked me. Look, I got battle wounds. But I really like
I got stigmata.
Raul Coley's a great actor and a fellow Ghostbusters fan. So
yeah, dude rules.
So Jake, you finished it. Mike Flanagan, not his movie. He's got some great movies. Obviously, Dr. Sleep. He did Gerald's Game and other things. But just his shows: Haunting a Hill House, Haunting a Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Fall of the House of Usher. Do you have an official ranking?
Oh man, I could do one right now. Midnight Mass is number 1.
Ooh, so good.
I've watched Midnight Mass 3 times. I think it might be the best like limited series
because you know why?
I've ever seen.
When you have a show or a movie with that kind of religious context, get a great priest to be in it. Get an actor who's a great.
That motherfucker needs to be in Revival. He needs to play.
The other thing that makes Midnight Mass so good is like he's been working on Midnight Mass for a long time. It was it was like his dream project.
Original content.
Yeah, everybody's great in it. You can tell that you can tell when somebody has spent the most time. Like I'm like, oh, he put a lot of time in actually writing this.
Right.
You can tell, but I'd say Midnight Mass, then I'd say Usher, then I'd say Hill House, and then
Bly.
Bly.
Bly
Yeah.
Manor, okay.
Damn. Well, we need to finish Fall of the House of Usher like immediately. I'm craving it. I've stayed up late to watch it even when I'm tired. Really just digging it so much. I love all the little references to other Edgar Allan Poe things that are happening. Plus just the cast of like evil just such interesting characters. I love it. And I would say Jacob, like you, Midnight Mass is my number one favorite because literally it's like Mike Flanagan probably came to terms with death and what happens like post-mortem, and like he wrote that into the show, which is incredibly healing and like awesome to watch and moving, and it's a scary show. You got vampire blood and all that fun stuff. But I'd say yeah, that's probably gonna stay my number one, but I cannot wait to finish The Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Midnight Mass is great. Would love to do a rewatch of that. Haunting Hill House was one of my. I mean, I was obsessed. I watched it multiple times.
It was groundbreaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch. I'm rewatching that one next.
I remember
Bly Manor was romantic in a way that like I really enjoyed.
Well done.
Yeah.
Really good cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they're all like ranking. Even the ones at the bottom of my ranking are still better than anything else that's on TV. You know, they're still amazing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, while we're talking about Dr. Flanagan, he's not a doctor, although he might be some sort of witch doctor with his.
He has a doctorate in Stephen King.
He's a
Dr. Sleep.
He's a doctor in getting a beautiful wife.
That she's talented as fuck, which I will.
Kate Siegel?
Say I am obsessed.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
She's great. She's awesome. Okay, let's just go through his filmography. So, man, he hasn't. I haven't really seen most of these movies. I've never seen Ouija: Origin of Evil. Do I need to go watch that? Is it great? Did he make like a great Ouija movie?
I don't know. You got to cut your chops somewhere.
Sure.
It's like watching James Gunn's Scooby-Doo.
He also made what else is on the list? Did he do Oculus?
He did Oculus. Hush.
That movie. Hey, Hush is great. Do you know what Hush is about?
No.
Kate Siegel lives by herself and she's deaf, and somebody's trying to like
Kill
home
her?
invasion her. Yeah.
I'll watch that.
It's good. Yeah. Hush is good.
I love that sentence that you just said. Someone's trying to home invasion her. It's such a funny. That's great. I love that. Obviously, he spent a lot of his last part of his career doing these incredible shows for Netflix, and he has a strong desire to continue doing Stephen King. He wanted to do Revival.
Yes, but he said that he would never be able to get the budget in order to do it justice.
Yeah, but doesn't he doesn't he have some sort of Stephen King thing lined up?
Well, the rumor is that he's going to do the Dark Tower, like a proper Dark Tower. We're talking Randall Flagg. We're talking the Gunslinger.
I guess I got to read him. Yeah, it's time.
I'd rather him do Revival, honestly.
Me? If you haven't read Revival, everyone, please do. I know that Jacob has stated this on our Patreon episodes and all the time, but please read it.
Let's do it. All right, guys. So we've covered a lot of ground. We've earned our Rotten Tomatoes verified badge.
We do. Is there some sort of convention we can start going to?
You know what we should do? We should launch a website called YHStomatoes.com. And it's just, we don't even write the full review. We just do the headline quote. And we do every movie.
Oh.
Okay. But it's like one of us. It's like Jacob Walsh from YHS says, this is a fucking disaster. All right, everybody. Well, by the way, on the day of recording this, we must say happy birthday to Jacob, but also Jason Reitman's birthday is today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Jason Reitman, Gil Keenan, and Ivan Reitman, all born in October.
Mm-hmm.
So that must be a prerequisite for directing.
But here's the question.
Yeah.
Say we were out to dinner with Jason tonight on his birthday. Do we tell the waitress?
Yes, you tell the hostess.
Or do we?
Happy birthday! Today's your special day. Happy birthday! The beef O'Brady's way. Fried chicken, country ham. It's your birthday hot, damn.
Wait, how about this one?
Jacob's like, what are these things you're doing?
How about what if we said fried chicken ice cream? Put me in the next Ghostbusters. It's my dream. Please. Hey, no, if we were out with Jason Reitman tonight, I would corner the waitress and say, hey, he's gonna be paying. And keep those lemonades.
I'll have the lobster.
Yes. No, happy birthday to Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan.
Yeah.
Celebrated a birthday last week.
Yeah.
And we're super excited. We should, man, it's almost October's gonna be over soon. Well, hopefully we can start figuring out when this trailer is going to happen for this new Ghostbusters movie.
Trailer.
We need a trailer. We need a title. We need official synopsis. We need to do things that we need to do. We need the strike to end. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot riding on this.
We need to lose some weight so we can fit in our jumpsuits.
Suck at the guts, guys. We're a podcast. That'd be a funny shirt.
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know. I don't know if I want that on.
Nobody wants to wear that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. All right, everybody. Well, this was fun. Listen, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube if that's where you are consuming YHS. If you are an audio listener, we got to let you know we do this on video every week. So if you ever wondered, hey, I wonder what those guys look like, you can go come find out.
Come look at us. Yeah.
I think a lot of times when you hear people like do radio and stuff, and you see what you look like, you're kind of bummed. I think we look better than we sound.
I know I do, and I don't. And I don't think I look that great. But when I hear my voice, I'm like, "What the fuck is that? Move out of Georgia, you idiot!" That's what I tell.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah.
So you can find us on YouTube, official channel for Yes Have Some Podcasts. We also have Toy Anxiety, which is a separate channel on YouTube where we do all of our toy and action figure talk with our buddy Ryan Dole every Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And lastly, YHS on Patreon for all of your audio and video bonus content over 5 years. Archived content that you will get access to immediately on day one for as little as $5 a month. Go to patreon.com/yeshavesome. I've got nothing left to say. Abigail, I'll give you the final word.
The body and the blood.
Oh,
The
God.
body and the blood. The body and the blood. The body and the blood.
The body and the blood.
The body and the blood. The body and the blood. Hi ho, the dairy-o. The body and the blood. Hey, let's take a picture.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, I'm going to post that.
Yes, have some. Yes, have some.